You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our show, we're going to be talking about why failing forward is the answer you've been searching for. What I want to do is I want to actually talk about what that even means and why it is vital, and it could be the only thing that you're missing in terms of reaching all of the goals that you set for yourself in life. So what failing forward means, I'm not actually sure who came up with this catchphrase, but what it means is this. Is that as you move down a path towards success, and it can be a success in anything, relationships, finance, career, weight loss, wellness, aging, all of those things, whatever your goals are, as you move down the path towards those goals, you are going to most likely not get it right the first time. As you start to progress, as you start to move forward, you'll have more and more failures. We'll call them failures, meaning like you didn't get it right. So you went on a weight loss plan and you lost a little bit of weight initially and then gained it all back. That is what we call failing forward if then you start a second plan and you learn from the first plan. And what did you learn? Well, you learned that you shouldn't really be snacking after dinner, even if it says it's okay in your plan, because for you, it leads to overeating. So the best thing would be that next time around to brush your teeth directly after dinner, which is what I recommend. And that way you're not going to most likely want to eat after that point because you don't want to rebrush your teeth. Plus, food doesn't taste so good after you have that minty flavor in your mouth. So again, that's just one little tip right there. But then you try that second weight loss plan or a wellness plan, whatever it might be. And again, you do better, but you still don't get it right. So then you say, okay, what went wrong this time around? And what this does is it prevents you from becoming unbelievably frustrated. And believe me, I understand how frustrated it is. Try going through this for basically a decade, trying to get it right in terms of wellness to get myself better. And what happens is this, right? So we have these high highs, we're feeling great, and then we come crashing back down again. We feel high again, and then come crashing back down. Well, the goal is to not get in the high highs or the real low lows. The goal is to move slow and steady forward, to understand what we did right and what we did wrong, and then to build off of that each time. That's called failing forward. Failing forward essentially means you are not going to get it right the first time, probably not the second or third. Think about Thomas Edison. He had, thousands of inventions. And how many thousands of times did it take him to get it right in order to actually create electricity, right? To get that light bulb to flicker and stay on and not just burn out every single time. This is why I'm such a big fan of studying history and just reading in general. So I understand myself that I do not have enough lifetimes to live within this period of time in my life that I can learn everything. So my goal is to simply learn from others, to accumulate as much of their knowledge as possible, first selfishly for myself, and then unselfishly, hopefully, to then pass it on to you, to understand what works, why it works, and then try to break it down to a much more manageable level, and then I can share that with everyone from a really straightforward, actionable point. And that's what I want to do today. So understand this, why set goals in the first place and why go through all of these failures if there are going to be failures in terms of reaching a goal? Well, for one, goals in life, creating goals in life is almost the purpose to life. The purpose in life, right? We all want to be happy. We all want to have great relationships. We all want to be able to take care of ourselves and take care of others. Well, due to that, because of that fact, we have to understand, what causes this happiness? And a lot of times it's the striving for something. It literally is the journey that creates the happiness, not the goal itself. Think about the car, whatever it might be, right? That you eventually get. And believe me, there is happiness there. There is joy there. People do enjoy that. I enjoy it myself. But when you reach it, then it's been reached. And what happens? Well, you need to set another goal, right? Because the goal, the striving, the journey is really what creates a lot of that happiness. So my big thing is this, creating the goal, understanding that you can make anything in your life happen. You can achieve absolutely anything that you want to if you're dedicated to it. that you make it a priority. But you have to understand this, that you're probably not going to get it right that very first time. So you are going to fail forward. And one of my big things is this. Yes, you're going to fail. You're not going to get it right. That's okay. Because you know what? The time's going to pass anyways. That's one of my favorite quotes, my favorite phrases. The time is going to pass anyways. You might as well spend it doing something or striving for something that you love or you enjoy or that's a passion of yours. So one of the nice things about the field that I got into, and again, I just kind of got into this whole health field inadvertently about 20 years ago, and it's because I suffered from my own health issues. It wasn't a goal of mine. It really wasn't. I never had dreams of becoming a naturopath or studying functional medicine or traveling all over the world to figure out all of these different nuances in health and how to help people get better. So the issue is when I said I am getting into this, I looked at, okay, what is this? Well, it's a never-ending journey to find out how to optimize human performance, longevity, wellness, weight loss, all of these amazing things. And I can literally do this the rest of my life. And no matter what, I still will not have learned it all. I will try, but there's no way because there is no end of this journey. It is a continual transformation that I can learn, that I can then share, and then again, learn and share. That is my model. That's what I'm going to do. And this, believe it or not, this just in and of itself brings me tremendous joy being on this journey as well, sharing these things on this journey. I love the self-exploration, that how I can tweak things. I'm always trying nutritional supplements. I'm always reading new books. I'm always experimenting. Most of the things that you'll never hear about 99 out of 100 of those. But what you do hear, you hear about that one. And that one is that what I know that I share with you is going to work. So I love that phrase, though, the time is going to pass anyways, because that just means you need to do something. You need to strive for something, because if not, what else is there? What else are you waiting for? You need to take whoever you are, whatever level you're at right now, to that next level. It will bring you more joy. And that could be a side job. It could be a hobby. It could be whatever it is. Like, for example, I know a lot of people that I work with in my own practice, and they might be executives or they might be in the business field or whatever it might be. And they're also looking to get into some type of health coaching, or they're getting into some type of yoga or personal training or whatever it might be, because they know that for them, although they got into this career path of finance, we'll just say, their true passion, actually, they found out, kind of like I did, was in improving their own health and then sharing that message with the world. And there can't be too many of people like me. There can't be, right? Well, actually, there could be, right? You don't want too many people just like me. What you want is there are a lot of other people sharing a message of health, and really sharing a message of hope, that wherever you're at right now, you can get better, and you will be better without a doubt. So that's the whole thing. The time is going to move anyways. The time's going to pass. You might as well do something good with it that you enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not selfish to do things in life that you enjoy. It's really not. I believe that's what a big part of life is all about, because as you get healthier, as you get happier, your happiness literally radiates to others. When you're around a group of people and you're happy, they will most likely be happier as well. Because if you're grumpy, well, your negativity is going to bring everyone else down as well. That's why I really don't like hanging around with negative people. I don't even like if there's negative people within my circle, like not even my friends or so, that are just kind of like within the sphere that I am, or even online, different communities. I don't like those negative vibes, because those negative vibes actually do change my own vibration level. They do actually bring me down a little bit, because I'm listening to the negativity then of someone who's just complaining. Now, you might say that, well, that doesn't really make sense, because you're working in a practice where you are listening to people through Skype or through in person talk about all of their problems. But that's different. And it's very, very different, because all of those people who have come to me are saying, I want to get well. I want to get better. It's totally different. These people are actually coming in from a positive standpoint. They have to tell me everything that's negative in their life, because if they didn't, I wouldn't be able to help them reach their goal of becoming healthier, of losing the weight, of aging and living longer, right? Aging to a better degree, to a better quality of life. If they have an autoimmune disease, if they have sarcoidosis, if they have rheumatoid arthritis, if they have Hashimoto's, I'm going to help them with that. I really am. And when they get better, then they are going to then radiate more positivity. they are going to smile more often. They're going to be literally, hopefully, a beacon of hope for someone else. They'll share their message with someone else. And that's literally how all of these things create this butterfly effect, that it radiates to other people within life. That's why I think all of this really, it's so important. Getting yourself better first is always the most important thing to do. You can't help others by being negative, by being mopey, by being a victim. You can't. You need to take control. I spent too many years as the victim. It was only until I gave myself back the power to say, it is me who's going to get me well, no one else. Yes, I will seek out the doctors. I will seek out the books, the CDs, all of those things. Yes, that was before MP3s. I will seek those things out, but it is me, because I live with me, no one else does. No one else is with me 24 hours a day, that I am going to get me better. I have that control. And you have to tell yourself that as well. That's so, so important. My other thing is this. You have to fail forward because you can't have any regrets in life. You can't wait another decade, another 5 years, another year to say, oh, well, this year was a wash. Maybe next year I'll try doing X. You can't, because you can't take anything for granted. How do you know that you're going to live another 20, 30, 40 years? We all hope that we do. We're moving in that direction that we do, but nothing is promised. Remember, you can't have those regrets in life. You need to make sure that what you're doing right now in your life, that even if you didn't achieve it, you could be happy saying, this is a worthwhile goal that I am moving towards. And again, always start with your body. As I say, change your body, change your life. Because if the vessel that carries you around through life is not optimum, it's not healthy, it's not at a good weight, well, then you're not going to be able to maximize all the other areas of your life. And I understand that there are some congenital and genetic-based issues that people deal with that were from birth. And yes, that's okay. All I'm ever saying is this. You work to the best of your ability. Your ability is different than mine. It could be worse. It could be better. It doesn't matter. It's you, and all of ours are just relative to each and every one of us. So that's my biggest thing as well, because you will never regret moving forward. Even if you have these failures along the way, what you will regret is that never trying. You really will. You will regret never taking action. If you don't try, that means you've just given up. That's it. That you're just basically cashing in your chips and you say, I'm just going to let the years pass. You will never be a person that's happy doing that. I find a lot of people in my practice who have depression, who have very low mood, they have nothing to strive for. Let me repeat that. If you're suffering from depression or low mood right now, I understand there's factors to do with neurotransmitters. There's all of these things in endocrine system and hormones, but you have to also work on the lifestyle part. You need to create some type of goal, some type of hobby, some type of whatever that moves you, gives you pleasure, that literally takes you in a direction to being happier. And then work with the functional medicine doctor, whoever it might be, the neurotransmitters, the books, whatever you're doing to then move forward in that direction as well. Okay, so I want to pull this all together now. And the reason why I say this too, and the reason why I'm really talking about failing forward, is I honestly believe that you can't even achieve a large enough goal anyways, without failing a bunch of times. And here's why. You don't even figure out what it is you're truly going after. You don't crystallize your goal until you figure out what you don't want. I want to repeat that. You don't even know what you want until you figure out what it is you don't want. And you don't figure it out what you don't want until you have enough experiences in life. That's why it's really hard to talk with a 24-year-old doctor or a 26-year-old doctor or a life coach who's, 25 years old. You can, no doubt about that. If you talk to me when I was 25, I was working with, professional athletes and a lot of other people and really good people, but I had a decent amount of life experience. Not as much as I do now. I'm not going to say that. But here's why. Because I had to grow up. I had to live a more life from 17 years old on. And that's because I got so sick and I was shuttled around from doctor to doctor. I didn't know how much time I would have left. So that changes you and that grows you up real fast. You look at things differently. I had a great time in college. Don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun. But I looked at life differently even when I was in college. I understood how short life can be. And that's why I try not to take for granted, and no one's perfect, any moment in my life. Now, I get caught up in stress and all these things like everyone else does. I just try to pull myself out of it faster. And I also realize with all of these goals that I'm going for, that I don't know exactly what it is that I want until I figure out what it is that I don't want. Hopefully that makes sense. So that means in my practices, I have to figure out, okay, I have to open the practice before I even figure out what type of services I might want to offer, who's my ideal patient or wellness client, about all of these different things. I don't know that until I figure out a few people, I don't really like working with these particular people or whatever it might be, right? I look for all the things that are, I should say, a better resonance with who I am. Meaning like, I can only help so many people, so why don't I work with the people, help the people that I can best associate with, that then I can refer out for whatever else it is that I might not specialize in. That's how I'm looking at it specifically. The same goes with relationships. I think this is probably the best example. You can't find the right person for you until you meet a bunch of people that aren't right for you. And I think we all know those specific people, right? Everyone has their own. I mean, that's why there is someone for everyone. But you need to figure out who it is in those people in life that you just don't want to associate with. And sometimes it's friends. Sometimes it's your current group of friends. You need to disassociate yourself. What I'm trying to say without sounding cold, basically, is that some people in your life are dragging you down. And for a certain period of time, it might be wise until you bring your own vibration, your own level up another notch to disassociate with them, just to not hang around with them for like 3 or 4 weeks until you get yourself in a better place. And then in the future, you may decide this person, they were a great friend. They were a great part of my life for a certain period of time. But right now, I need to work on me and they need to work on them. It doesn't mean that you can't be friends in the future, but it's just something to think about. And that goes for current relationships in whoever you're dating or whoever it might be right now. Are they the person that's right for you? Or were they the person along your path helping you to figure out more about you? Helping you to figure out exactly what you're looking for in a relationship. And again, they could be an absolutely great person and they most likely are in their own right. But that does not mean that two people need to spend time together if they're not a good match. They can still be great people, just not great people necessarily for each other. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, this applies to everything. If you're working with a doctor right now, their plan that they gave you may be the absolute perfect plan for you, but that doesn't mean that you can implement it perfectly. You might need to learn a lot more about yourself. For example, you might have a real hard time disassociating from certain foods. Like you have a difficult time eating after dinner. You might love to snack on chocolate or ice cream or just chips after dinner. And so it's going to be hard to get well if you're eating the foods that you're sensitive to or eating the foods that are going to cause you gain weight or inflammation after dinner, especially when that is a time to then allow the body to digest, to let it relax before bed. So all of this means is that as long as you are moving forward, as long as you can even understand what you're doing right now, you don't have to be perfect, because you can say this, again, I'm not with the perfect person, I'm not in the perfect career, I'm not doing my best eating, but I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to maybe cut down to every other night snacking, or I'm going to try to go 1 week, or I'm going to do a 21-day plan. And that 21-day plan is then going to help push me to that next level. This is also why I'm such a huge advocate of a detox, a basically like life detox in general. I always recommend, obviously, the 21-day Dr. Paul detox. You can choose whatever you feel is the right plan for you. But in 21 days, it's enough time to make a difference in your life. And I've said this in our community group before. Again, if you want to join the community group, it's completely free to my podcast listeners, our community. Just go to cabralsupportgroup.com. But what we do there is we just share the different things that we're going through and how we can help each other. It's a positive group of people that do vibrate at a little higher level, that are people that are looking to really remove themselves from a lot of negativity. But it's this, as you are going through the detox or a detox in general, what you're trying to do is think about all of the things in life that you need to remove in order to get ahead. So sometimes the way to get ahead or the way to add is by subtracting. And that means taking out, in terms of the detox, the inflammatory foods, the high glycemic foods. It's just allowing things to slow down for a certain period of time. Why slow down? Because as you slow down for a certain period of time, you can increase bandwidth, which means if you have less coming in, it's easier then to think. You have a little bit of brain space. And when you have some brain space, you can say, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. But until you slow down, until you see that, you don't even know what it is that you want. So just in closing for the show, what I want you to do is this. I want you to get clear on whatever your goal is specifically. Once you get clear with your goal, I want you to then understand that this might not be a 7, 14, 21, or even 6-month process. what I want you to think about is this. If the goal is important enough, you will achieve it. And if the goal is important enough, you'll be willing to fail forward. You'll be willing to make a few mistakes along the way, to recalibrate, to learn from those same mistakes, and then you'll be better able to then crystallize that goal, figure out if it is even something that you truly want, and then be able to move forward in a much faster manner. So remember, the faster you fail, the faster you move forward. Keep moving forward, keep making daily progress, and just be gentle with yourself. Sometimes we're just too hard on ourselves. Be gentle, make sure that you know that you're moving forward, but then just do the best to your ability. If you do that, I'm telling you, part of the happiness, part of the progress, part of this journey is really just realizing that these things, these goals, what we strive for is what does bring the happiness. It really does. So I really do appreciate you tuning in today. As always, thank you for listening to the Cabral Concept. And if this show could help anyone else out, please do feel free to share it with them. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.